Do the Cubs have one more big move in them before the start of spring training or maybe the season? Tarik Skubal. Is there a chance they could get Skubal? I don't know. Zac Gallen, hey, their name's still linked there. And why did Matt Shaw and Nico Hoerner just get a lot more valuable to the teams that are out there trying to win? We're going to talk about that on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. Let's get this thing going. Good to see you guys. Go Cubs. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel, and it is great to see you guys today as we get talking about the Cubs. All right, what's the next big move that these guys could potentially make? Well, first off, let me just throw this out there because I've seen Bleacher Report and a lot of people kind of saying, hey, what if the Cubs made Tarik Skubal the big trade for this year? Now, they signed and they made a big trade already. They signed Alex Bregman and then obviously traded for Edward Cabrera. But could they make a Kyle Tucker type of deal for Skubal? And would I do it, knowing the farm system, knowing the names that are being thrown around in this deal? I think that the Tigers have a really tough decision to make because this guy's going to get paid so much money, they're not going to be able to re-sign him. And they could get a really big load of prospects and even big league guys if they were willing to go out there and trade it. So I'm looking at Bleacher Report's Zachary Reimer, and he's got this deal that he put together, and it's pretty interesting. Matt Shaw, Jackson Wiggins, and their first-round pick from last year, Ethan Conrad. And he thinks that would be the type of trade that would get Skubal from the Tigers. Now, let me tell you something. If the Cubs got Tarik Skubal, they immediately are a World Series contender. Now, you have to give up Matt Shaw. He's a pretty good young player. You'd have to give up Jackson Wiggins. It's like the Cubs really right now, their only legitimate pitching prospect according to the rankings. Now, that doesn't mean there's other guys that can't pitch. It just means the rankings. And then Ethan Conrad, the guy that they drafted last year, but it hasn't shown up yet. He's their first-round pick in the top 100 prospect list. Now, again, that doesn't mean he can't play, but his last year in college, he had a shoulder injury, so we don't really know much about him. Now, the Cubs farm system is as bad as it's been since the days of Felix, PA, and Junior Lake. I mean, this is just a farm system that just doesn't have a lot of top prospects in it. I mean, you got two top 100 guys. You know, one of them, I mean, they both have amazing talent. Don't get me wrong. But Moises Ballesteros is a catcher, but he can't catch in the big leagues. They're not going to do that, I don't think. Unless he had a big improvement from last season to this season. That's what we're hoping for. A lot of work to be done. And then Jackson Wiggins, who's a great pitcher, but can't stay healthy. Those are the two top 100. Conrad ain't even in that list. Would I make this trade? Yes, I would. Because we have waited around for a window for this team to win another World Series since Theo was there in 2016. And we watched it just continue to slide the wrong direction until the point that this last season was the first time they won a playoff game in years, right? But they still never had enough to win. None of us on here thought they were going to win the World Series. Skubal, hey, you put him in that rotation, and all of a sudden now you got a team that can beat anybody. And the Tigers proved that last year, 2 years ago. They've made the playoffs without really even having a staff. They just have him 1 year. I don't think the Tigers are going to make that move because they're a legitimate contender in the AL with him. But if I was the Cubs and that was a possibility, a lot of good young players to the Tigers, you might have to even throw in one of your pitchers off the big league staff. but this got to be worth it. Now, the other name that we keep hearing is Zac Gallen. And Zac Gallen is the top free agent pitcher that still hasn't signed. And Brian Murphy of MLB.com had it: Baltimore Orioles, Cubs, San Diego Padres, Angels. Obviously the Diamondbacks want to bring him back. He's coming off of a season where he really didn't do too well. 13-15 out of 4.83 ERA. And then he did pitch a lot. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing. I mean, he showed up and gave you some innings, made all his starts, but the strikeouts were down. This smells like one of these, we're going to do a deal with an opt-out and probably get paid a little more. I've told you guys this now. Cubs have a big decision to make on this because you're going to have to give up draft compensation and you're going over the luxury tax. So whatever that would be, I mean, obviously, factor that into whatever he's getting paid. But then, when you see what the Dodgers are doing, they don't care. And if the Cubs are going to be on the same level as the Dodgers, they're going to have to spend money, just the way that things are set up. And my gut feeling is, and I've said this on here before, baseball is going to look totally different next year because the owners are pissed about what the Dodgers are doing to the game with all the money that they're spending and not caring about the luxury tax. They're going to make a threshold here. So I don't know how that's going to factor in on this either. But until Zac Gallen signs somewhere, I think you guys should consider him an option for the Cubs. I think that they even with the weak farm system, if I'm Jed Hoyer, who knows how many years Jed Hoyer has left. Felt like last year that it was like, hey, they're going to bring him back. They're going to bring him back. Maybe, yay, we'll bring him back. I think if this team does one tailspin, they miss the playoffs, they're going to fire the whole front office. And that's just the way that this business works. But with that said, he still has the ability, Hoyer, to go out and do the same thing that he did last year, and that's make a blockbuster move. He's already made a couple of those. I don't know if Edward Cabrera is blockbuster to me, but you trade your really good prospect to get him. You get one of these two guys, and all of a sudden it feels like the Cubs are one of those teams that has a lot of pitching. And they said, hey, last year we got lucky. We didn't have guys injured. They're trying to do something about that. I thought they did a really good job last year of having a bunch of different options down the line. And I got to give the front office a ton of credit for that. All right, Nico and Matt Shaw. They just became a lot more valuable. The Seattle Mariners, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the St. Louis Cardinals got together on a 3-team deal, and Brendan Donovan got traded to the Mariners. Now, the first thing I want to say is the Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays, obviously the Dodgers, those teams have taken this offseason and maybe put the Mets in there too, and have attacked to try to get back to where they were last year. I think the Cubs are close to being in that group too, with what they did with Bregman, the Cabrera trade, but losing Tucker, so it's, I guess, like, to me, it's like, Tucker, Bregman, but if they could pull off maybe one more big deal, they could get into this group. And we've talked a lot about Nico Hoerner getting traded, Matt Shaw getting traded, because that's where the rumors are flying around right now. So now you got one less second baseman. And the price for Nico is probably gone up. The Braves need somebody for second base. We talked about the Red Sox needing someone to come in and play second base, the Giants needing someone to come in and play second base, other teams. Does that mean that the Cubs are going to make the deals? No. But I think what a lot of you guys feel like is, first, you don't want to trade Nico. You saw, he had a really, really solid second half of the season. And I wonder if that's the beginning, when you look at all of the analytics of him kind of turning the corner and making more solid contact and driving the ball more. And having more like run production. He does everything else well, fantastic, whatever. But those teams that are looking around, they're going, hey, if we want to get a second baseman, our options are starting to really get thin. But I think that you guys feel like if the Cubs trade Nico, it better be for players that are coming to help this team on the big league roster and not prospects. I think if you trade Matt Shaw, you do that for prospects. You try to start rebuilding this farm system. If it's for Nico and you don't have Nico anymore, you better be getting players back that can help the big league roster. And I'm talking about late inning, high leverage relievers, a starting pitcher, and maybe another second baseman that might not be as good or something. Because I guess if Nico got traded, you just threw Shaw there, right? Anyway, interesting watching. I know you guys love talking about Nico getting traded. We got to do it. We got to cover it here, okay? That's what we do on the channel. Anyway, like, subscribe, thumbs up. Great to see you guys. Don't forget about AveD, Mick Nation. Hit our QR code, and let's get this thing up to 10,000 subscribers. Hey, I missed yesterday. Down here in the Keys, it was cold, so there was only one thing to do, and that's go down and hang out at the Green Parrot and the Hog's Breath Saloon and Captain Tony's. You got to do all that stuff right here. And then I missed our streaks over, but it was fun while it lasted. All right, guys, talk to you tomorrow.